All right, we are back at Microsoft Ignite for 2018, and 3 years running now. I have had the pleasure of being joined by fellow MVP Matt Landis of Landis Technologies. Matt, thank you so much for continuing this tradition with me.
Well, I love just seeing what's going on, what the new Microsoft announcements are, so it's just fun doing it. So
it is. It's fun to chat it up, and we've taken things up a little bit better from sitting in front of a laptop in a darkly lit area in the last couple of years. This is a little bit nicer
it's
of a
an
setup.
upgrade. I'm going to go with an upgrade.
I could get used to this. We'll have to try again next year, see if we can snag it again. But we
Good
have
work.
a lot to talk about. I got a challenge for you, actually.
What would that be?
I want to see, I thought we'd have a few announcements from Microsoft Teams, but the laundry list is just insane. I want to see if you can get them all listed out really quickly in under a minute.
Let's go. Background blur. And these are things that are available now. Background blur, live events, cloud video interop, Polycom and PEXIP, image annotation, Teams administrator role. Yealink is now a Room Systems partner. Teams calls and meeting APIs are in public preview. Device program certification program. I think I said that twice. But what are things that are coming? Yealink and Questron devices, a whole pile of them, including Crestron being a desk phone manufacturer.
Right.
SharePoint and Teams integration, priority messaging in the Teams app, share your screens from private chats, DLP, Plantronics mobile phone station, Jabber Puck with a Teams button, Yammer tab, admin Teams and Skype and Teams admin center. Am I missing anything? Teams, Dynamics Teams Management, Microsoft Teams Verticals, Healthcare, and the frontline workers, and Device Management Solution, right, built-in Teams.
We needed a timer to see whether or not you were really in there, but
maybe I went over a couple.
It may be a little bit.
Seconds there,
I almost got up and went and got a drink and came back just to see if but it's a long list.
It's a pile.
We are not going to discuss every single one of those because this is not the Teams recap for an hour.
This is not the 2-hour-long UC Architects podcast.
No, it's not. Not Pat Richard. Where are you? He was just out here too. I wish I could have said that. Anyway, we'll talk about a few key pieces that we want to dive into, but we're gonna give Skype for Business some love right out the gate because there has been so much Microsoft Teams everything, and I'm a Teams evangelist. I love Microsoft Teams, but I've come from the Skype for Business world, and there was a great Skype for Business session this morning on everything you need to know about Skype for Business Server 2019. So I'd love to get your thoughts on what you think about what's coming and some of the new things they showed off during the session.
Well, one of the things that a lot of people have been saying, and I think I even said it, is that the new version of Skype for Business Server, just when you think the Skype for Business Server 2019 was going to be a cumulative update.
Just to see you.
Yeah, just to see you. The planned CUs that are coming with Skype for Business Server 2019 make it a genuinely new version.
Yes,
so
very much
serious features in there that are worth talking about.
There are, and some of them have been talked about for quite some time, almost since pretty much last Ignite. So we've known about some of them, but there's been a lot of changes to what was projected since then.
Yes, from last year.
Yeah, there hardware requirement changes.
In a good direction?
Yes, in a good direction. Not massive amounts of hardware like what was originally thought. Some role changes were made over the course of this year. But then some new things showed up as we're getting close to GA as well that are exciting to see. One of those today that they introduced and we're talking about was the control panel. They're getting rid of the Silverlight control panel eventually.
Goodbye, Silverlight.
Everybody cheered. Everybody cheered.
There was some nice applause points in that session,
yes.
I will say.
Yes, there were.
And the HTML5 control panel is very, very welcome.
Yes.
People are going to love it, and it looks just like the Teams Skype Admin Center panel.
Yes.
So it's modern, it looks fresh, new.
Consistent look and feel to it, exactly. And some of the things, not all the features, but some of these things that are coming to 2019 are also going to be coming to 2015 and a later CU as well. Not all of them, but a couple of the features. I would highly encourage everybody. This was a great session to sit in on. It was it was refreshing to see the direction that they had. It was refreshing to hear a reinforced commitment to the on-premises Skype for Business platform.
Absolutely. And can I talk about another feature?
Go for it.
What was another place where people were really happy? Cepha, Util,
Yes.
PowerShell, and this is very personal for me, but yes, it's going to be in there in a CU. It's coming after 2019's released in a CU, but incredible. I don't care if we already wrote it. I'm just glad to see it's going to be inside Skype for Business Server.
And they demoed it on stage, and it looked, it made a few changes, some call forwarding, adding users to, and it went pretty well. So they're still working on some of those things, but that's one of those big things that they put up on the board as this is coming. So they will be incrementally releasing CUs over the next several months. Once the product goes GA, there are going to be more CUs to follow to obviously bring in some of these newer features.
Yeah.
So a lot to keep your eyes out for, but sit tight, as they indicated during the session. GA for Skype for Business Server 2019 is right around the corner. I mean, we're almost there.
Yeah.
So as a matter of fact, I've actually already been helping to design some Skype for Business Server 2019 deployments in anticipation that it was going to be in Q4.
There's enough of information out there that you can do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Skype for Business Server, awesome stuff. Glad we had a chance to talk about that this time around and talk about something new there. Let's shift gears over to Teams, though. Microsoft Teams, like you just, all that stuff you just read off, that's Microsoft Teams stuff all the way. Lots of cool new features across whether you're a unified communications guy or you're a collab person or whatever there is lots coming.
Yeah.
One of the cool.
It's like an avalanche of features. But go ahead.
It is. It is It's so much information that it is really hard to recap it and pick the pieces out.
But what it really demonstrates is Microsoft, the incredible amount of investment that Microsoft is putting in Microsoft Teams.
Right.
So,
both from not just marketing like we see, but the development, the support going into that. And they have been incredible at hearing feedback throughout the process.
Very much so.
And adjusting accordingly.
Yes.
Which is great to see. One of the cool things and kind of lighter things that I saw this week that was just a brilliant stroke by the marketing team. The BBC clip that everybody is so familiar with of the guy doing the interview and his two kids coming in the background, using that clip to advertise GA of background blur. Genius.
Microsoft sometimes struggles to explain technical features. This is not one of those cases.
This is not that moment.
Brilliant way to describe a new feature. Perfectly illustrates
it. It went over well with everyone. It's been used in a few decks and people are loving it. So background blur has been out for a little while now, and people have been toying with it and seeing it come out little by little. I think it's still rolling out to some tenants. But it's pretty impressive. I think they demoed it as well with Brett Anderson. He temporarily taken a new job as a flight worker out on the aircraft runway area there. Had on the whole reflective vest and everything, and he turned on a background blur so he could have a better meeting with the demo he was in. But I'm pretty sure
you can do it. In other words, you can do a meeting anywhere now.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter where. Okay.
Working on planes, runways, wherever, and Brad Anderson pulled it off well. I think he's back to his regular job now, though. So likely.
And it really works good. It's not Mickey Mouse.
No.
You move your head around. Some of the old little add-in tools that you get, you move your head around and it would kind of move away from your head. It does just a pretty good job.
It does.
I'm impressed.
There could be some trickiness depending on your headset and things in the background, but I think it's something that they are continuing to fine-tune and refine what's going on in the background with background blur. So I'm good right now, only going to get better in the future.
Yep.
There is a lot going on within meetings and calling, actually. From APIs. That's something that I think you might want to dive into your thoughts on.
Yes. So at Ignite here, Microsoft finally announced something very long awaited, and that is the calling and meeting APIs.
Yeah.
Which that means that developers like ISVs like us that want to make contact centers, IVRs, call recording solutions, that kind of thing, we can get to work. And as a matter of fact, we have already been at work. So we can start showing stuff. And at Ignite here, we are showing a native Teams call queue in our Office 365 contact center. So we're really excited. It's once again, they're getting a lot of input on these things to try to do it right. And But they are out, and that is really great to hear. It's another indicator of the team's maturity level.
Yes.
They're approaching where you can do stuff.
Right, customized solutions, and this is in preview right now,
yes,
correct?
It is preview. Yep.
So it's preview right now. They had a lot of other news, though, around apps and the ways that organizations can use them and extend things, and there's just a lot going on with apps. So cool things there. Image annotations was something that's pretty new, and they showed off. The ability to take a snapshot with your phone of an image and edit it right there within Teams before posting it and using it within a channel or elsewhere. Probably one that is one of the more requested features that just landed, and you ran through it earlier, but being able to share your desktop in a private chat.
So that is getting things like they were in Skype for Business kind of scenario.
Yes.
But it's really welcome to see it there.
It is.
A lot of people are wanting to see it.
I love what they've done with meetings and Teams as it is. I think it's great, and there's of course a few more things that are requested that people want to see, like the whole presenter versus attendee status and things like that. But overall, I feel like what's been done in the meeting experience is great, including sharing desktops, but having that absent from the peer-to-peer situation was something people wanted for quite a while. Yeah. So now that that's there, that's a pretty big deal. It's great to see that.
Yeah. Another feature that it might be small in the big scheme of things, but I really like to see that this attention to details being paid, and that is priority notifications or priority messages. I think it is.
It's for calling, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, it's in the chats.
Oh, in
it's
the chats.
In the chats.
Okay.
So I think it's priority messaging or priority notifications. I'm drawing a blank on it now, but basically what the feature is, it's kind of a 21st century pager.
Oh, yes. So I was drawing a blank, totally.
Gotcha.
But
so you send the message, and so you have this deal where you have maybe a person that's on call, and you don't want to send them a text, it'll get lost in their text. You don't want to send a Skype for Business message, it just kind of gets lost in there. They have to get the message. And what this does is you can send a message, it makes a big bright red banner on their Teams client, and it keeps vibrating every so many minutes until they actually acknowledge it.
Okay.
So really good for healthcare, but not just healthcare. There's other industries like IT service when there's an emergency, and the on-call person has to get that.
Right.
So I think that's good stuff.
No, that's a big deal. I mean, it's screaming in your face visually that you need to acknowledge this. Tied to that same feature, there was and I'm going to draw a blank on what it's called now, but priority calling, was that what it was? Where you can essentially, even if you're on like Do Not Disturb or you set yourself to be away, you can make exceptions for certain individuals to call you, and it will still get through.
They can break through. Yep.
You don't want to have your wife calling in and not being able to get through to you because you're in Do Not Disturb or something. You need to be able to identify certain people that are important in your life that need to get through no matter what. And that was the example, actually, that was discussed during the session the other day. Your wife or somebody else in your life, that's whether it's work or personal, there are certain people, numbers, that you need to get through.
That just have to get through. Do not disturb or otherwise.
Exactly. Yep. The exceptions to the rule, and I loved it. So that was another one of them.
Well, I will say, one of the things I'm noticing, the thought that is going in to how calling works in Teams, I'm impressed. And I'm a picky guy. So I like to.
It's your job to be picky there.
Yeah, yes, but I like what they're doing.
They're doing a great job. I mean, from the beginning, honestly, and I'm glad to see all the things that are still coming in, but I have personally liked the calling interface in Microsoft Teams. I like seeing all the pieces, your dial pad at the bottom and your reading tab with whether it's voicemail or contacts or whatever it is, all in that single pane. I feel like calling, that's a great place to do calling. So now there's delegates that you can set up as well for calling. There's all kinds of new things that have come in recently. And there's still more ahead. There's the enterprise voice, more advanced features that will be coming in later in Q4. We've got location services that are part of that, call part, things like that we're still waiting to see, but Microsoft says that it's right around the corner. That's supposed to be delivered Q4, and we're on the verge of Q4. So we are getting to a pretty complete story very shortly here. One other thing, because this has been a hot button for me and my personal conversations with customers, is Federation. And it was addressed in yesterday's session that I was in with Mark Potier and the What's New in Teams. Now, they had check marks next to it, and they did say Federation is delivered, even with an on-prem situation, but he verbally called out on stage, that is a scenario right now where if the organization is pure on-prem and your teams, that there's still a little bit of work that they're doing, but within the very near term, next month or so, that should be smoothed over. So for those of you that have been slightly held up on the federation side of things, like I've seen a little bit of, that we are on the verge of that not being an issue pretty soon here. So,
in the one session, Paul Cannon talked about like kind of this forward-thinking idea of always-on audio.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Did you probe him anymore? What that was? I'm intrigued, and I want to talk to him. So I guess we just need to do that.
We need to follow up. That was a session where I was unfortunately had to be remote, so I was trying to watch it, but it was in a very interrupted environment. So I caught bits and pieces of demos, and that was one I wanted to see.
Well, a great point. I tried to get in that session too, and it was full and I couldn't.
Well, that tells you
so
something.
I had to watch the streaming, which means it's really, the voice stuff is really, really popular.
It is.
It's hot.
It's a hot item.
Yeah.
It is. Another thing that's been pretty good, that I had a good interview with Ann Michaels on, was a lot of the IT Pro announcements.
Yes.
There's a lot happening with Modern Portal, going beyond Modern Portal, Teams templates, DLP,
and the ability to manage teams inside the portal, but not only that, role-based team management, which means you don't need to be a member of a team to administrate it. So very, very good stuff.
And you don't have to be a global admin to administrate it as well. So there's that, which is a big problem for some.
Yes,
so
exactly.
There is a lot going on there. It was great getting her perspective on all that. And I will be chatting with, I'll be chatting with Jamie Stark a little later today, so everyone stay tuned for that. We're going to dive a little deeper on the Modern Portal side, see if I can get him to throw me a bone on what's on the roadmap a little bit, maybe. We'll see. We'll see how that far he lets me go.
He's doing good work on the Modern Portal.
He is. They've been working really hard since it was first talked about earlier this year, and a lot from both the general Office 365 Admin Center, where the team settings were, and from the Skype for Business Admin Center. A lot of that stuff has made its way over into the new Teams and Skype for Business Admin Center. They're continuing to improve that. They're continuing to add more, and eventually we'll have calling, voice routing stuff show up in there. All the other stuff that's still in the Skype for Business Admin Center, it's coming. It's part of the roadmap. So I'm excited to see those things.
Yes.
That, I think, brings me to about the end of what I wanted to cover for this year's Teams Recap. Unless there is anything else that stood out to you or any cool things you saw in the Expo 4 you want to talk about.
Well, one thing I might say is it seems like there is a real focus on devices.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So one of the surprises is Crestron is doing a desk phone.
Yes.
That's a little bit of a
great point.
Popped out of nowhere, at least for me. But Yealink is really forging ahead with native Teams phones.
Yes, and room systems now.
Exactly, they became a room system partner, or room system, whatever it's called.
Whatever the term is, exactly. And the Crestron, like you said, that wasn't just to you. I stopped by the booth and I saw those things because I read it on the blog, and I'm like, are you the Crestron phones for Teams? So
it's totally a new vendor.
And I talked to him and I was like, guys, normally I hear whispers. I had no clue this was coming, and they kind of chuckled. They're like, "Yeah, it's been held very tightly." So, and it was a pretty big surprise for Ignite.
Yeah.
But if you are here at Ignite, definitely, if you're in the Skype for Business and Teams realm, head over to Crestron. Check that out. They are some neat phones. They're handsets. They're in the area that all the other handsets are in. But it's neat to see another partner, another vendor in that space, and like Matt just said, there is more room systems now. So the devices overall, it's been a big thing for devices. The Plantronics, I'm drawing
mobile phone station.
Alara, is that the Alara 60
Alara
series?
60,
yeah. And so that is nifty looking. They showed that off at Enterprise Connect. And so now it's actually, we're getting to put our hands on it and look at it. As I understand, that will be coming out Q1 of 2019.
The one we're seeing is pre-production yet.
Right. But they're much further along than when they had it on stage at a distance and nobody else could get close to it. So that it's good to see that there. But great call out on the devices. I think that's it. I think
so.
We're ready to wrap.
Matt,
I just thank you. Year 3 in the books. Looking forward to Microsoft Ignite 2019. We'll do this again, hopefully. Maybe we'll move ourselves to like the studio next time, or maybe we'll be able to join Sachi on stage and do this next time. Or am I shooting too high?
Hey, you got to have high ideals.
We'll aim high. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next year.
Yes.